Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Poetry Project. My name is Mira Narcisanos. I'm the program director here, and I'm extremely excited tonight to welcome you all to the first ESB reading of the season with Angela Abiodun and Mahogany L Browne. Thank you both for being here. I'm so excited for this reading. For those of you who don't know ESB, ESB stands for Emerge Surface B. And it's a fellowship that's a little bit like of a natural extension of what we do at the Poetry Project, or learning program, as well as a kind of poetry community that we build as we program this space. And it's basically a fellowship in which we pair a quote-unquote emerging poet, and the meaning of emerging is very broad, with a mentor. And we usually sort of pick 5 fellows per year, and this year's fellows are Angela Abiodun, Dina Abdul Hadi, Alexandra Egan, Carlara, and Tanji Mitchell. And each of these poets have been paired with a mentor. So if you're not familiar with our program and would like to apply, usually applications are open in the fall. So I encourage you all to apply if that's something that speaks to you. Okay, so a couple of announcements before we start. This week, on Wednesday, we have an event celebrating the translation of The Aesthetic of Resistance with Joel Scott. Scott? What? No? Okay. Joel Scott. And then Aesthetics of Resistance with Joel Scott. And then on Friday, we have a discourse with Adam Haj Yahia. And I think that's it for this week. Logistics, we have 2 all-gender bathrooms, one on the first floor, one in the sanctuary. And also our latest newsletter is fresh off the press. Please grab a copy if you haven't yet. And also we have a beautiful book also here for sale, Mahogany's book, A Bird in the Air Means We Can Still Breathe. And copies are available for sale. I think that's it for me. I will turn it over to Marwa. Also, just like to give you like a brief overview of the format. Angela's going to read first. Marwa Helal is Angela's mentor. So Marwa will introduce Angela. Angela will read. Then I will turn it over to Christina Olivares, who will introduce Mahogany L Browne. Mahogany will read for 15-20 minutes, and then Mahogany suggested that both her and Angela have a brief discussion, which I thought was a genius idea. So please stay with us for that brief discussion. It's also always nice to hear about each other's writing. So you're welcome to stay and participate. Okay, so Marwa, if you can come and introduce Angela. Thank you so much.
Assalamu alaikum. And Ramadan Mubarak to everybody observing. Thank you for being here. Sorry to mess up your mic setup here, or perhaps adjust it. I don't know which one I'm doing. Oh, Angela's actually my mentor, but thank you. Co-menteeing out here in these streets, these dangerous, seemingly weirdly quiet for St. Paddy's Day, but I see you wore green. Okay. The actual introduction begins now. Angela Abiodun is a writer who loves hibiscus, mangosteen, and is presently obsessed with the daily routines of ladybugs. A recent graduate of Pratt Institute's MFA in creative writing, some of their present considerations manifest as a series of letters to the descendants of indigo dyers, particularly in the Black African diaspora. Their chaplet, cobblestone-lined walkways, expect sprawling grass between them. Belladonna Collaborative 2023 considers their body in relationship with society and the natural world. Angela is a poet of divinity, not just divination. The poems you're about to experience are worthy only of an introduction revealed by the angels themselves.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر، الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
Thanks for coming out tonight, y'all. I'm so excited to be here with you. I have so many feelings, but I want to thank all of the poets, writers who are reading with me tonight, the introductions. Mahogany, I'm so excited for your yes. Marwa, your yes. Christina, your yes. So the divineness of all of this is so weird because as I was preparing, I was like, let's create a situation where you all get to know me as a writer. So I'm gonna start with the practice that I do so you can know some of the authors that I walk with, that I am writing in legacy with, that I am chasing in a sort of way with my writing. And the way I'm going to do that is through a bibliomancy practice. I don't like that word because I'm not using the Bible, but it is a book divination practice. So I have 3 books. You all are gonna help me determine the order of the books, and then we're gonna learn more about the practice. So how it's gonna work? I'll tell you the book titles. Morning Haiku by Sonia Sanchez. M Archive by Dr. Alexis Pauline Gumbs. And Women Who Run with the Wolves by Clarissa Pinkola Estes. So what I need you all to do, I want to make it clear, I did not give you the order, right? So I'm going to ask you to give me a number 1 through 3, 1, 2, or 3. You don't know which one that book is yet. When you give me that number, I will then start the practice with that book. And then we'll proceed and see where this takes us. All right, y'all ready? So now sit with yourself You know 1, 2, and 3, that's all you really know, and the titles that we'll be engaging with. And then when I say go, whatever number I hear loudest, that's where we'll start. Ready, set, go. 3, 2. I always set myself up because it's kind of hard to know who the loudest is, but I will honor the final punch, the final period, which was 2. So that starts us with Clarissa Pinkola Estes. So my practice actually started with this book too, so fine that we start here. Old friend, who was no longer a friend, introduced me to this practice to get familiar with the book. So you shuffle. This is my version of shuffling in a book. Where I land is where I land, where my eyes land is where my eyes land, and I start to read. I kept doing this because when I first started doing it, every time I read, I was filled with the message that I needed for that moment. And it has never failed me. So I'm curious about the messages we'll collectively get tonight, because these messages are for the room, because y'all have made the choices. So in addition to gaining information about whatever we wish to see into, the taking of solitude can be used to assess how we ourselves are doing in any sphere we choose. Earlier in the tale, so for context, this book is a series of stories, fables, that Clarissa Pinkola Estes is looking into the corners of to determine what is missing about how women are represented in these stories. So earlier in the tale, we saw the child stay under the sea for 7 days and nights, this being a learning of one of the oldest cycles of nature. 7 is oft considered to be a woman's number, a mystical number, synonymous with the division of the moon cycle into 4 parts and equal to menses, waxing, half, full, and waning. It has been usual in the old ethnic women's traditions that at the full moon cycle, an inquiry should be made into the state of one's being, the state of one's friendships, one's home life, one's mate, one's children. Given the fact that we just finished that eclipse and that cycle, I hope you're sitting with that inquiry, because if I'm not mistaken, that's also the conversation of this retrograde we're going into. So that's what Clarissa has to offer us tonight. So your final 2 numbers are 1 and 3. That will determine the next book, then we'll have the 3rd book. So I'm gonna do the same thing. Ready, set, go. On go, you say 1 or 3. Ready, set, go. 3. I'm not playing with you. You might not be able to do this no more. I'm gonna go with the 1. I'm gonna go with the 1. And I appreciate someone was like, I'm gonna wait for that. Morning Haiku by Sonia Sanchez. Okay. So I'm gonna read the haiku I landed on, but for context, for those who haven't read, each poem is a series of haikus, potentially 10 haikus. And I landed on 1 haiku, the last haiku in a series, so I'm gonna give you that one. It's titled 4 Haiku for Eugene Redmond. Number 4, your poems, butterflies fluttering down to earth, along with that bass above. So think about how you can flutter, how you can be responsive to the sounds, the realities, the possibilities, and leave your mark on earth. And then we'll end with M Archive, after the end of the world. How to prepare for apocalypse. Well, Google has zillions and Mary was only Mary, so she had to get help. She had to induct people into her practice, but it was actually not that hard. There were many people who craved a return to paper but who had been ashamed to admit it in front of the few remaining trees. Mary's reminder that the most abundant resource of the Google generation was still trash, often in the form of boxes shipped by the almighty ally Amazon, changed everything. And they got on board, and they brought down the messages from the cloud into the crowd in rather disruptive and beautiful ways. I must say, Some of the most talented hackers joined Mary, and so even government secrets and encrypted lab experiments were floating around on sweetly placed candy wrappers and the like. And so that is how the tradition was born that ultimately led to this thing we are doing now. This is how the story of the apocalypse ultimately got in our hands. So, with thanking those who I'm reading with tonight, I want to thank them and so many more for the possibility to be able to share words with you. So, I'm going to get to my own work now. And in the spirit of you all getting to know me, the main reason I came to New York was for an MFA in writing. And so it feels right to see why they chose me. So I'm gonna give you a little bit from that writing sample that I submitted that was a part of my acceptance to my MFA. You plant in my back so I remember, watch joyfully as chrysanthemums bloom, wonder why I thought anything different would happen. Wait, let's see if these are perennials, laughing maniacally when I scratch at myself and asking, do you love yourself if you try and remove the most beautiful part? And I stop. Then dig with more fervor, remembering most wolves will remove a limb when stuck to maintain life. How did this get here? How did I sleep through this? Are the scars worth it? When is pain ever worth it? At least I'm doing it to myself, I said to me. So that was one poem from my writing sample that I submitted to a whole bunch of places. Got into 2, chose Pratt, and here we are. And then at Pratt, I had the beautiful opportunity to write a chaplet titled Cobblestone Lined Walkways Expect Sprawling Grass Between Them, which came out of a series of activities, prompts, developed, co-created, and then I would go on walks, either virtual, like in my head, kind of in my room, or literally in the world, writing on both sides. And then these are some of the writings that came out of those walks. One repeating refrain, which I'm just gonna offer you that refrain, which is a truth about my reality, is I am nervous about this practice. I expect violence against my body. I go to the Detroit River and find the point where land softly slopes into water, where rocks are either strategically placed or where sand has been piled or laid. When I was younger, there was lore about the Detroit River, about how disgusting and gruesomely inhabited it was. The Detroit River held bodies, waste, and in recent years, motorized scooters. Not only was it unclean, it was unsafe to swim in. The current would suck you under, make it impossible to get to the other side. What covering do you need to make it across? But the kayaks and the jet skis and the canoes and the boats all still make their ways down the river, usually from the marina or the yacht club to Cheyne Park or towards Lake St. Clair. They wanted to go kayaking, but in the middle of the city, didn't know where to go, and on a whim, they came across a party happening out of a shed that had kayaks. One of the girls knew a host and asked could they borrow a kayak. With a furtive yes, the girls' electronics were stored, they received life jackets, paddles, and a kayak one while down for the adventure, oversold her ability to steer, yet with the push off the dock, they were pushed into Detroit's own canal district. Water under siege. Many in Michigan, in Detroit, believe that water is the next natural resource to be under siege. We've seen the way that oil has resulted in people ripping apart lands and communities, and many believe water will result in that next. To be from a state surrounded by the most fresh water in the world, I might have taken for granted what it means having consistent access to fresh, drinkable water. Growing up, I stuck my head under the tap and gulped down the coolest, freshest water I ever tasted. Over the years, due to governmental mishandling and outdated pipe systems, I've become weary of trusting the water that gets dispensed from the tap. It's believed that distilled water is cleansing for the body. I wonder where your water flows from, what serves as the source of your constant stream. All waterfalls have a source, a river or stream which flows over hard rock to meet pool below. Niagara Falls, in as part of the Niagara River. Tequinamum Falls are a series of falls on the Tequinamum River. Even in name, we're reminded of the linkage to something greater than the moment of the drop. A reminder, after Nikita Gill. Destroyed, broken, broken, destroyed, try again, delicately broken, masterpiece destroyed, try again, despite it all, try again, masterpiece broken, delicately destroyed, try again, despite destroyed, try again, despite broken, try again, a reminder. And then the final piece in this chaplet, final page, I expect violence against my body. The slope of the wall meets the corner where the grass extends to make a door. The floor stretches away. Maybe it's lamentation, maybe it's concrete. It extends under a staircase that leads to nowhere, towards another that leads outside. Cobblestone-lined walkways. Expect sprawling grass between them. All right, so another crowd interaction. I have 2 poems about body parts talking to each other. Do you want the heart to the stomach or the stomach to the brain first? So 1 is heart to stomach, 2 is stomach to brain. Ready, set. Go. I heard a lot more ones. Which I'm gonna say I'm excited about because 1 came first, the heart to stomach did come first, and then it made sense for the stomach to talk to someone else, so that followed. From my heart to my stomach. Let go of the butterflies and grasshoppers. They've existed forever and tell you nothing about nothing, except fear, love, possibility. All those consistent, regular, indecipherable times, bubbles internally frothed, were just as important as that time our lips locked with his and you did a dip to the pits of your feet. Let the tapeworm grow, devour any chunk too large for digestion, and turn into a blooming magnolia when satiated. You are a knowledge transmitter. From decomposition to transmutation, the modifications you have mastered sustain. Allow the second tapeworm to devour the lining after drinking the bile, dig your way to the surface, and make the world reckon with what they've created. Thank you. From my stomach to my brain. What can I teach you that you don't already know? Forget that you work. Allow synapses and connections to grow without forcing it. Everything doesn't have to have meaning, or does it? Give yourself time to learn and understand. It's okay if it takes time for the connections to build. Not having the language for an experience doesn't make the experience any less real. You don't exist without your feet rubbing against the grass, someone else's finger dragged between your shoulders. You are a singular reality and a network of nerve endings. Don't minimize the feelings you can't describe, ignore, or forget. You won't remember every single detail of right now. You're not a failure. Even cutting you open won't clarify the depth you contain. Give yourself the lifetimes you deserve to understand who you are. You deserve to be complex. Don't shrink away from all of that. This next poem is a poem that I've been writing for 7 years, and hopefully one day I will finish it. Has anyone experienced a bullfight? Okay, so a little bit of context. I was watching a bullfight and found myself watching the bull and seeing myself in the bull. And at extension, all Black people, I saw us in the bull. And part of the reason was because, and I didn't realize this until then, was that the matador has to actively antagonize the bull for it to attack. It doesn't happen otherwise. And watching the bull come into this arena, I categorized the bull as like drunken, stumbling through, disoriented, and then I proceeded to watch this man wave himself at the bull in the crowd to antagonize, then stab the bull to antagonize, and then get cheers for successfully stabbing the bull again. And I was completely disoriented, completely saddened that this is what our relationship to nature has become. And ultimately, I'm like, okay, I'm in Portugal. This is the representation of like colonial virility and your need to like prove your valor in the world. But from the first iteration of my poem, I found a book. Has anyone read the children's book Ferdinand? It came out early 1900s, 1930 something. And the lore around the book is that it was commissioned by the Spanish government during the Spanish Civil War. There is so much lore around this book about, and it got banned by Hitler as well during his reign. And the book was about nonviolent response. And I found the book around October 7th, 2023. And nonviolent response in the face of all of this denial of your value to be around, to be existing, just did not compute for me. And so a poem about nonviolence did not compute for me. So I went back to the page. We'll see what the page does for me now. I think I still have some more to do. But the title of the poem, begin quote, "In order for nonviolence to work, your opponent must have a conscience," end quote, or My Hopes for Ferdinand. 1, rage. Find its source, a place where your revenge is birthed. Collect materials for the fire, fuel it. The wood, paper, oil, tinder, disappointments, which will disintegrate every cage and stadium that holds you and coerces you to perform to a particular beat. 2, locate your choice. Does it reside in the grass, on the stairs, in the heart of the matador antagonizing you? Whose blood must spill for you to regain access to it, to be introduced to the concept? 3, plot your revenge. Determine who you need to handle, that you need to show where they got you fucked up. 4, if forced in the arena, sunbathe. If the sun's gone down, enjoy the shifting breeze to nightfall. Traipse around the edge, show off your coat, find the whites of the horse's eyes, hone in on your next kill. Take a nap, only move against the shade, tune out the groans, the audience, the exclamations of expectation and frustration due to following your heart. 5, craft fire fueled by the streamers from the javelin. 6, remember, isolation is not your only fate. 7, roar, snarl, growl, make every noise you can that identifies your internal state. 8, purr. Are cats the only one with noises of contentment? Moan. 9, look for connection with self. 10, talk to yourself aloud. You're already assumed insane to imagine that you could be anywhere but there. 11, chase a ball of dust, a floating blade of grass. 12, play dead. Stop breathing. See how long it takes for them to leave you alone. Learn why wolves chew off their arms when stuck. So, Marwa mentioned my series of poems, letters as poems, dedicated to the descendants of indigo dyers. It was inspired by a rewatch of Daughters of the Dust, and the ability to finally see myself reflected and not recoil. And so I will read you the first letter when I find it. Yes. Here we go. Sorry, it's in a different spot. Bless you. All right. This is letter 2, sorry. So right now the letters are 4 deep. The plan is to have 12. The others have been started. The concepts are developing themselves. And I am going to read to you 1. Dear unborn child, treat everything that follows as fact. You are loved, you are wanted, you are seen. You are wanted, you are loved, you are seen. You are seen, you are wanted, you are loved. One night in the woods, the chef asked me, "Are you allergic to, or do you just not like strawberries, water, sunlight, soil, bullshit, air, does it matter?" That clarification wasn't asked to anyone else, but what would a monkey know of their stomach? It had been a long time since my allergies had been questioned, but I remembered anaphylactic shock. I doubted my own experience in that moment, so I Googled for a refresher, the holder of truths when I doubt my own. Exactly what I thought. You are loved. The first time I went into anaphylaxis, I was no older than 4. We were at dinner, me, my parents who were still together, and my godparents. For some reason, I remember Uncle Theo being there, but nope, just me and my personal home health aide, i.e. my mama, present and alert. Maybe there's something comforting about thinking a doctor was nearby. How long can you stay afloat, tread water in the middle of the ocean? The night was cut short because of what was fed to me. I wonder when that began. Did I grab it off someone's plate? My dad always orders when he eats out, and he always wants others to indulge with him. Was it ordered for me? Sticks are on the children's menu. Regardless, children find a way to put whatever they want into their mouths. You are wanted. Less than 20 minutes after the chef, a friend innocuously, audaciously, confrontationally inquired about the allergy, tried to innocuously, audaciously, confrontationally determine the nuance, specificity of the allergy. Are you sure it's not psychosomatic, or are you having a psychosomatic response? I didn't know there was a doctor in the house. You are seen. Psychosomatic. Psycho, somatic, psych, soma, mental, body, crazy, corpse. You are seen. As of February 23, 2023, sub-Saharan Africa accounted for approximately 70% of maternal deaths. Black birthing persons in the US are 3 to 4 times more likely to experience mortality, a 243% higher chance of death. They are 9 times more likely in New York City. 84% of deaths are preventable. You are seen. After giving birth, Cerine Williams began losing feelings in her legs. The hospital staff wasn't concerned. Was this a deviation from the medically accepted standards? I wonder if they thought she was psychosomatic. You are seen. Patrice Cullors was given an emergency C-section. The surgeon never explained what he was doing to her. Was this a deviation from medically accepted standards? She said the pain meds didn't work. Maybe her pain was psychosomatic. What would have happened if her mother wasn't there? What do you do when your heart's in Freetown, but you're in Detroit? You are seen. Sha'Asia Semple had a virtual baby shower in 2020. A few days after her due date, she went to the hospital for some routine stress. She was kept because of abnormally high blood pressure. Left untreated for 2 days, she was given Pitocin. After dithering, pausing, wavering, vacillating, hesitating, pussyfooting, she agreed to an epidural. Her anesthesiologist deviated from medically accepted standards when administering. After going into cardiac arrest, doctors performed an emergency C-section. Her anesthesiologist failed to appropriately administer oxygen after Sha'Asia reported difficulty breathing. After 45 minutes of CPR, she was pronounced dead. Crazy corpse. You are loved. The most recent time I went into anaphylaxis, I was in Pietermaritzburg, South Africa, interning at an institute dedicated to challenging power structures in education, 2014. A winter-summer internship that upon arrival at the hospital from our celebratory pizza dinner, where I found out was in the sauce, I was told, you just have diarrhea, given some steroid shots, and sent on my way. Crazy corpse. But I had diarrhea in high school when I ate too many hot Cheetos. I didn't break out into hexagonal hives along the inner gum of my upper lip that I loved running my tongue across because the texture happened so few and far between that I wanted to revel. I didn't get itchy along my neck and my inner thigh, thinking that a bit of scratching would relieve it, but annoyed when the irritation didn't stop, which made me wonder how I would complete this half-mile jog home. My eyes didn't become so blurred that when I looked in the mirror, I could barely see my dilated blood vessels, which is what I'm guessing my host saw and is what made her worried. My hands didn't swell up so much that my fingers started worrying about being constricted by rings. I didn't have to look for a place to rest, settle on the curb, embarrassed but unable to stop. The pee that trickled actually streamed down my inner leg and pooled beneath my periwinkle and white New Balances. My legs didn't give out, so my host had to hold me up, almost carrying me to the hospital entrance and then wheel me to both the bathroom that I had to plead to be taken to and ultimately my curtained room. But what does a monkey know of their shit? You are loved. This world will tell you your purpose is for something other than what you want. You are a well for others' projections. You are a landfill for others' delusions. You are a reservoir for their denials. You are a cocoon for their fever dreams. You are a basket for their worries. You are a capsule for their stressors encouraged to incubate over time. You are loved. Find a way to put whatever you want in your mouth. Dictate the risks you'll take. Determine the people who will affirm your reality. Sing to the flowers and watch them bloom under your care. Remember, whether psychosomatic or not, your body's reaction to stress is valid, deserves attention, should be honored. You are worthy of creating the worlds that support you being alive. Sincerely, so that last poem was the opening to my thesis. And took 16 years to write. This next poem, what's my time? My last poem is a recently written one, finished this morning. New shit. A poet takes their co-created mental health assessment. What might support look like? back support, specifically lumbar. What might support look like? Haldol, Seroquel, Atarax, specifically combined with Benadryl. Supposedly they work well together. What might support look like? Encouragement to chase joy and love, not challenging everything that comes out of my mouth. What might support look like? Folks communicating their reality clearly and not lying to make me, really themselves, feel good in the moment. What might support look like? More opportunities to feel, cry specifically. What might support look like? I'm sleeping, but my sleep needs to be managed, extended, elongated, prolonged until after the moon passes through the earth's umbral shadow. What might support look like? Having the earth hold me as I lay against it and sob, screaming or crying for all those dead and martyred, the corpses, the babies, the families, the lost dialects. Will we ever understand how much was truly lost? What might support look like? Having alternatives, more choice, more time, more love, more. The end.
Thank you so much, Angela. That was wonderful. Yeah, I will now turn it over to Christina Olivares, who will introduce Mahogany L Browne. Angela, that was, oh, can you hear me? Bring it up. Bring it up. Is that better? Yeah, thumbs up? Mahogany complimented my sneakers earlier, and I felt like I'm okay today. She just gave me a thumbs up because I moved the mic, and I felt exactly the same way. Angela, that was truly beautiful. Thank you so much. I'd never met you before right now, and I feel blessed and honored that I get to be in the space with you. So I am going to start introducing Dr. Mahogany L Browne by noting that I thought it was the 17th book. It's her 33rd work is out. It came out last Tuesday. What a beautiful thing. I'm glad I fact-checked as I was at a red light on the West Side Highway, because that would have been embarrassing if I cut half her oeuvre out of the running. But it's like everything. It's like young adult books. It's a lot of poems, like poems on poems on poems. It's plays. She wasn't sure if we should count the play. We're counting the play. It's a tremendous amount of work. The book is A Bird in the Air Means We Can Still Breathe, and it takes place during the early part of the pandemic. And it's quite beautiful. It's a lot of interlocking stories. All of this is off script. I'm going to actually read the bio that I spent all day preparing right now. All right. A poet, a writer, a curator, and an organizer. Mahogany leads with Lincoln Center institutions. Mahogany brings rigor and love and vitality in music and poetry and theater and profound wit and intelligence to the far corners of the city and beyond. Oakland's finest is the most New York out of all of us. She's the subject of a documentary film about her instrumental shaping of the poetry scene in New York called How to Build a City, filled with testimonials of those who learn from her and work alongside her. It's true that Mahogany has raised at least one generation of poets in this city alongside her own daughter, the tremendous Amare Simone. Mahogany is crazy prolific, as we've established, and she writes everything. A recent favorite is a smaller offering not counted in the 33 works. She wrote a cento to celebrate hip-hop's 50th that came out in the New York Times on a warm summer morning. We were all together in the Powerhouse in upstate New York, crowding around the screen and picking over the lyrics she'd curated into a new poem, jostling to call out each sampled artist. She's incredibly tender. Walking with me masked on the Lenape land called the Parade Ground at Van Cortlandt, the week that we lost George Floyd,
She reacted protectively when I told her I had watched his death, reminding me that they like us to see, that we must protect ourselves from the violence they'll try to put on repeat to try to provoke more fear, to provoke our silence. That same day, we broke bread under a warm blue sky on 2 separate blankets. We had a strange picnic, her deep kindness without a trace of judgment as I began to figure out how to be close to people while I started to navigate long COVID. In her poem, Homer, Louisiana, in her book, Chrome Valley, Mahogany writes, I think, God, is this the fight, to be Black and beautiful and breathing? Mahogany's deep love for Black children and respect for childhood permeates her work. Childhood is difficult to write because we are no longer children, even as we are made up of the multitudes of children we once were and longed to be. As Mahogany says in the voice of the children that closes out, a bird in the air means we can still breathe. But which I take to mean all of us in the struggle for poetry, truth, community, and selfhood, quote, we are a generous legacy, just trying to make our ancestors proud, even when our backs are against the wall, end quote. Her honoring of childhood is visible in her telling the truth about it. Was that first kiss actually romantic? How do we figure out what we love? And how do we learn how to protect that in us which is soft? How unreliable and heartbreaking friendship can be, and what a cool, deep, relieving well from which to drink when we find one that we can trust. How brave we can become when, finally, we find ourselves in community. How lucky we are to be in community with you tonight, Mahogany. I'm so pleased to introduce you to the Dr. Mahogany L Browne.
Thank you, Christina. That was so good. Thank you. Jeez, these people can write. Thank you, Christina. I love you so much. And thank you, Angela. I'm so glad you made it out of Pratt. I love Pratt. I graduated from the Writing and Activism MFA program, the inaugural class. But you know, I'm glad you made it out. Those MFA programs, some of them are amazing, like truly dope. I found my purpose, or at least I learned to fight for my purpose there. But it's also, I recognize, it's very true, Fred Moten's theory around the absorption of power that tries to happen. And so when you get artists that make it out alive, speaking about the thing that they most definitely want to filter clean or distill in delusion, then you gotta say it plain. All right, and I wear glasses now. Shit is difficult, y'all. Got a knee injury. Hey, I'm out here being an elder. A little bit about me. I cite Black women poets as my references because I am cognizant of the power of heritage, the necessity to recognize those who came before me, and my obligation to amplify those voices that have been disregarded in the dangerous sport of white supremacy. Audre Lorde, June Jordan, Lucille Clifton, Nikki Giovanni, and Sonia Sanchez. These are not just poets, they are architects of resistance, survival, and joy. Their writing is not just lines on a page, it's blueprints for how we grapple, how we heal, and how we love ourselves in a world that shows us otherwise. And I read that specifically for you, Sister Angela, because you opened up exactly where my heart is, and thank you. Thank you for the book divination. That was dope. And y'all know I know it's a church, it's big, but this ain't YouTube. We could talk to each other. You like anything you hear, you could say, ooh, I want to hear you more than the tapping up top, huh? So I lost my sister 2 years ago. This is actually her 2-year anniversary, her death anniversary this last week. And this is a poem that I wrote in Mississippi called Tornado Watch 2023 for Erica. 5 days before your burial, there is a tornado watch in Oxford, Mississippi, where microaggressions have found me near the invasive kudzu trees. First, the poet who did not believe I was who I was. Second, the librarian joked they all looked the same, her dainty white hands preparing my plate of catfish, slaw, and hush puppies. As the hot wind gathered its skirt and pushed aside Delta's red dirt, I think about you and the eulogy I still can't seem to write. Your name looks so odd next to the word departed. And when the tequila ain't take my mind off the white woman who so badly wanted to call me girl and resist the urge to touch my hair, I sat with the compliment flailing between us, their drawl a sticky saccharine dripped. So pretty. You are so pretty. Instead of an apology or acknowledgement for the dirge work I'll have to do to clean after America's shitstorm. The night air grows heavy with heat, moisture, and height. The ruffles of the tornado skirt shawl the sky. I return to you. I open the blank document to archive you were here. Erica is gone now. Gone. The words live on my cell phone, just 4 words from our mother in all caps like a plea. Gone. Like my breath when I want to say anything worth hearing. Gone like my mind when I fall into bed while the alarm roused others from slumbers. I didn't move an inch. I like to think I slept through it where my mind believes you are still permanent and alive. The next morning on the way to the airport, the van shuttle is buzzing about the loud boom they felt in their chest. How the trees dance like their anxiety well after the alarm fell silent. I smile, knowing there go my big sis, causing all that ruckus. You always knew how to enter a room. And so, thinking of the Black tradition, I think about how we can pull from different places. Specifically, I didn't know about Sonia Sanchez and the names that I just said until I was 23, 24, right? Now, I knew Sonia Sanchez from Love Jones and Def Jam. And that's wild, right? It's wild that someone who was so prolific and in turn became, like a mentor in how she makes spaces and teaches not just communities in the classroom, but communities in the living room. And so thinking of her and Gwendolyn Brooks, you will hear them show up here. This was written for Sister Sonia's 81st birthday. We celebrated her, and it is in the tone of Gwendolyn Brooks. Root workers. We roll up sleeves and bend from the knees. We sing beneath our breath, it's gonna be heavy. We still swing big despite the justice system of letdown, and we still show up on time. We arms open. We hands open. We hearts open. And we love the way we fight until empty, until sun replenishes, until laughter fills the well. We return to the front line. We hammer, we hatchet, we ready to love a life. We ready to rock a stone cold gaze into dust. The Black girl you watched harassed is someone's daughter. The Black woman you watch berated is someone's daughter. There is no redemption in swinging out of your weight class. There is no glory in the demise of our Black women. We be the daughters. We be the bridge makers. We be the pot servers. We be the cleanup crew. We be the aunties. We be the writers. We be the spell weavers. We be the holiest of holy. We pray for you. We double-edged women, we gather like a fist. We gather like a fist of freedom papers. We a coal of storm. I said we a coal of storm and glory. We a country surrounded by ghosts. We pray for ourselves. We watch our sisters pray for we blessed in this knowing we black palms open and up, we black spirit and divine. We ain't never been still bars. We ain't never been glass ceiling. We ain't never shuck, nah. We saunter the testimony. We clean the spirit. We manifest, and we ain't leaving till we choose. We be the daughters, and we got root work to do. And so thinking about that, which was written, I think 2 years ago now, I had the opportunity, this is the third YA novel that I've written, and I'm always getting in trouble, because I'm like, oh, they're gonna ban this shit again. But I'm gonna say it. Still gonna say it. You know, like it has to be said. It's like young people don't play. They know when you're lying to them, and they know when you're not keeping it funky. They really don't approve, right? And I don't like to be checked by someone who I can pay their bills. I just don't like it, especially when they're right? Young people make you brave. They make you face yourself. You ain't as cool as you think. The fuck, I paid all this money. You're not. Now grow up. That's a young person. And so when I went to these schools, I would be reading these poems that I thought were like, you know, love yourself, which you should. Love yourself. But I wasn't talking about the thing, which is what does it mean to be othered and marginalized and ignored? And once I started just putting my finger on the pulse of that thing, as uncomfortable as it was, that's when the moments of discovery and healing began. So I'd rather be banned and loved by the young people than liked by this un-DOE. All right, so this is in the voice of Hyacinth. She's a part of the chorus. I made a Greek chorus. And this is her being inspired by Audre Lorde. So before I'll close with a bit of a self-love poem or a friend love poem, I will give you Hyacinth, a litany on surviving after Audre Lorde. We young and we still rise. We learn from our parents' mistakes and grow. We create and become the freedom our elders fought to achieve. We dream in color and we believe in science. We climate justice. We trans rights. We women's rights. We immigration rights. We anti-war. We poverty abolitionists. You taught me that, just so you know. We love without borders and beyond binaries. We able-bodied and disabled. We mental health day and debrief. Have you ever heard from a young person, I need a mental health day? That is so affirming. I would just cry in corners, and a kid came up to me, 7 years old, and was like, I just need a mental health day. And I was like, bitch, take it, take your day. I fucking love kids, take your day. We pass the plate and lift while we climb. We laugh without cutting one another down. We laugh without cutting one another down. We're not the mean and bully brigade. You can sit at our table. We laugh until our jokes create gardens of dreams. We dance to the staccato of soca and house. We bubble gum before bedtime and lullabies. We migrant stories and homemade recipes. We thrift culture. We meditate. We respect our elders with open dialogue. We respect ourselves with tough questions and grace. We graceful and grateful. We graceful. We grateful. We clumsy humans with piercings. We vaccinated with cartoons on repeat. We chicken noodle soup, chicken noodle soup, chicken noodle soup. Y'all the best, my people. We activate our goodwill and share our hand sanitizer. We mask up and keep calm. We are a generous legacy, just trying to make our ancestors proud, even when our backs are against the wall. Okay, and my last piece, it's gonna be a little bit. Anybody got your favorite song? Oh, yeah, for this. Nobody have a favorite song? Okay, is there a favorite song that you have that no matter where you are, doesn't matter. If it comes on, you might drop it low a little bit. If you still got some good cartilage, you might, you know. Doesn't matter where you are. Shower, bathroom, grocery store, elevator with strangers. All right, so you know where I am. This is my song and my last poem. Thank you. I'm excited to at least ask one question. Okay. Like the most crazy part about it all, like the most crazy part of it all, that's it. Like the most crazy part of it all is that this is your song, and it doesn't matter that it was your song in 1998. No, it doesn't matter that it was your song and you sang it at the top of your lungs next to some boy with open hands and a big smile. Your mouth became a well, ready for this kind of turn up, up, up. You go so high, your voice says clearly, if you're horny, let's do it. Ride it, my pony. Looks like we're here again, friends. Almost 30 years later, in between deep want for a strange and still life and this sticky melody. This right here is the same song you sang at Kennedy High, Natomas High, and Burbank High gymnasium parties, wearing whatever shirt you snuck from your sister's closet. Your pout, slick with wet and wild lip gloss, sparked pure joy when you said those words way back then, and again now, on the side of a hill in Fallbrook, California, which is a snazzy view smack between San Diego coastal lines and this forever indigenous land. The psychedelic frog sound interrupts the sonic scape, and oh snap, supersize these eyes. Quick foot gets the best seat on the dance floor. Under the sky, we become an ocean, all of us singing and giggling and body rolling. The irony that plenty of folks here were raised by this song, and some of us here are the age of this song, does not matter, because Molly, who smiles like a mountainous sunrise, wore a veil the color of ice and said, I do. And Phil, a sensitive soul with an immaculate head of hair and equally immaculate awareness of what a room needs, said, I do. So we, as a cast of witnesses, yes we, as a crash of kaleidoscopic heartthrobs turn into the mob love makes of our kind, we wrench our necks up as we chant the directives. Ride it, my pony. My saddle is waiting. Come and jump on it, because we all know this isn't promised. Not love or attraction, not someone holding you by the small of your back to lead you gently through the bodega ice cream section, not someone holding your bag when the fight commences, not someone remembering your chosen name. Nah, we all know fairy tale endings ain't nothing but a colorful prayer. The only certain things are the choices we make. And those who attend the miracle of combining bloodlines and dreams, believing in the bounty of love, because look, just look, against the lush landscape, a true thing. To the left, a bride eyes the color of evergreen. To the right, a newly minted husband and his ombre hazel eyes. And in the center, we all nod and cry and move sure-footed to the dance floor just in time. We don't talk about the acoustic version of the raunchiest song ever made. Instead, every poet in the room hurries to write down the memories to complete this witty metaphor at a later date, because that odd acoustic version is really just a reality check, a reminder that one day someone will remake your greatest hit poorly. And then someone else will say, what the hell was that? And someone will yell, where's the original? And then like a benevolent deity, the DJ will spin that thing, and all your unanswered questions rush to the front of your mind. Why am I here, universe? What is my purpose? Genuine enters the speakers, and there's that damn frog. And Roe versus Wade, January 6th, and inflation become a shimmer mirage for 4 minutes and 12 seconds, long enough for the joy to creep in and satiate us into heaping bodies of hallelujah. We dip to the rhythm, and I swear I'm making my backbone slip when I look to my right. And there's my friend John. He's two-stepping beside me, and our eyes connect as if Elgin himself said, rap that shit, friend, and we do. We carry on loud, raspy, and beautifully ridiculous. Ride it, my pony. Come and jump on it. You can't tell me we ain't killing this karaoke thing. I'm telling you, we was really the best at the wedding. It was sick. The open bar has us sweating until it spills onto the oak and towards the green cliff. We are model strutting, and the trees sway like our backup dancers. We close our eyes to hit the highest notes, and the sky turns blue-black, but this is what freedom feels like most days. Seemingly shining moments hit different in the midst of despair. Me and my friend John are singing loud, loud, and still on beat. No cheap tricks here, no simulated pony trots. He bumps into a couple of people and we decide it's to make more space for a grab bag of good. We decide there's more room needed to get rid of this grief. We stomp until the padding from the grass beneath weeps its own song. Loud, loud, and still on beat. We rise to the beat and become the beat rise, and we find the outline of the newly wedded becoming a couple of commas, and we become their hip-hop soul singers. Now, this is our wedding karaoke mission. Come back laughter, come back peace. Come on, Genuine, turn our tears into wine. Turn back the time to the first time we ever confused our worth as deserving of mistreatment. Turn back our backs to the beat of the drum, because the drum knows it all. It knows the snare, the 808, and the answer. What is alive and living if you forget to enjoy the ride? Thank you. Angela, will you join me? I have all the questions, but I'll start with just like process notes. I love that you brought in, I'm actually not gonna sit, my knee is crazy, yeah, it's going off. That's why I was doing a dance and I tried to make it look like a dance, but it hurt, so I stopped. But I'm thinking about you working with Marwa, who is also one of my favorite poets and Cave Fellow. How was working with this mentor in your specific process? How was it for you to make this next journey possible?
Marwa, before I knew her, has always challenged me. How she relates to the page challenges me. And that has made its way into this as well. She has pushed me to continue to think about form, which I really, really love how she engages form on the page and as a mentor. It's not one directional, it's not like a linear process. It's very, the only word that I can think of right now is generative, both in the exercise of it and then in the application of it. And I've been really grateful for the generation that has come, the self-reflection that has come, the clarity that has come. And it offers me hope about my ability to not run from the page. So before we started, I told Mahogany I came to poetry late because I knew it as a child, but it was only a thing of like great despair and drama. That's when I turned to it. I had a broken heart, I'm writing a poem.
Oh, those poems is good too, right?
Maybe. Well, no, that's true, because some of the people who got those poems still have them. But like to consistently commit to a poem was a scary thing for me, because it felt embarrassing to be so vulnerable, and I feel like poetry has always been the most vulnerable writing form for me. And in that vulnerability, I would say that I'm reminded every conversation with Marwa about how that commitment to self, that commitment to vulnerability, and even to what you said about like talking directly to the thing versus talking around the thing, will offer so much to both you in the process of creating the poem, creating the book, creating the piece, and then to whomever also gets to engage it, read it, see it, hear it.
And where can we find your work next?
Oh my goodness, next.
No pressure.
Oh, no pressure. I hope to, So there's expectation for something to be connected to Poetry Project within the time of my fellowship. Right now, consistently, you find it in my sporadic tweets. And then long term, it will come in a book. A book is coming. The book is slowly emerging, because part of my practice is being able to say the things, because I got in trouble for saying the things as a child.
Of course.
Literally, a diary got read, and I got in trouble for what was said in the diary.
It's your diary.
And so part of my writing practice is like to be comfortable saying the things, because I've learned that my things often make other people uncomfortable. And that is not my problem. But yeah, so that's kind of the trajectory of the next possible places. Mhm.
Thank you for sharing your testimony, and thank you for including me tonight.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for reading. Thank you for existing. I would not be here if you did not make a path. So, thank you.
Thank you so much. That was so moving. Thank you, Mahogany. Thank you, Angela. Thank you, Christina. Thank you, Marwa. Thank you all for coming. Please come back to the Poetry Project and have a wonderful rest of the evening. Thank you.